Imagine a country where the government has simply vanished. Not figuratively, literally. No army, no stable police force, no president. Just gangs with automatic weapons, cultists with machetes, and thousands of people hiding in basements. Welcome to Haiti. At the beginning of the 19th century, this very country was the first in the world to defeat slavery and become an independent black republic. And now, it's one of the most dangerous places on the planet. No ministry is functioning here. There's no regular public transportation, schools are closed, food prices go up every day, and over all of this, silence from the international community. Haiti isn't just in crisis. It has become a failed state, and what's happening here today goes beyond anything you see in the news. Everything collapsed on July 7th, 2021. The president of Haiti, Jovenel Moïse, was killed in his own home. Unknown assailants broke in, spoke English and Spanish, and acted like a special forces unit. Moïse was shot, his wife was wounded, and the security detail did nothing. The official version, mercenaries, but to this day, no one knows who hired them. After that, anarchy broke out. There was no functioning parliament, no court, not even a clear successor. The country was left without any leadership. Every day brought new rallies and protests. And in the neighborhoods of Port-au-Prince, entire banana republics started popping up, each with their own flags, their own laws, and their own armies.
You know where I just was? This is Haiti. A paradise island, but there's no president, no police, and total chaos reigns. And you could die any day because the people living there are basically in a real-life Mad Max movie, only with even less gasoline. Who would have thought you could end up in an apocalypse in the Caribbean right now? Anyway, I'm off.
Today, on paper, Haiti has an interim prime minister, but he's abroad because if he comes back, he'll either be killed or taken hostage. No one in the country is in charge of anything anymore. The central government has collapsed. The courts aren't working. Regional authorities have been dissolved, and in the capital, there are only 3 hospitals still operating, and even those are guarded by armed men. There are no police on the streets, only gangs. They collect taxes, sell passports, and decide who lives and who doesn't. 80% of the capital is completely controlled by gangs. Each one has a name, a leader, and its own territory. The most notorious is G9, a coalition of 9 major groups led by a former police officer. They have drones, machine guns, and uniforms. They raid rival neighborhoods, burn houses, and set up checkpoints. Some gangs carry out public executions right in the middle of the road. Others have a religious slant. They call themselves defenders of the spirit, perform rituals, burn incense, and believe that by killing their enemies, they purify the land. No one stops them because there's no one left to stop them. Haitians today live as if under siege. Stepping outside is a risk. Sending your child to school is a risk. Even going to get water is a risk too. Many have moved to makeshift camps on the outskirts. Tents made of rags with no sewage, no electricity. Food is a luxury, and there are no medicines. Everything is controlled by gangs. You have to pay to enter the market, pay for food delivery, and if you can't, expect a raid. Thousands of families bury leftover food right in the ground, just to try to keep it safe from thieves. Sometimes even the dead aren't buried because people are too afraid to go outside to the cemetery. Gangs in Haiti aren't just criminals, they're paramilitary cults. Many use voodoo symbols. They paint white patterns on their faces, wear bone necklaces, and hold nighttime ceremonies. Some have banners with skulls, while others use flags depicting spirits. Their weapons range from homemade shotguns to automatic rifles smuggled in from neighboring Dominican Republic or the US. Many even have armored vehicles, converted pickup trucks with welded steel plates. These aren't poor teenagers with sticks. These are well-organized, disciplined groups that even have their own intelligence departments. The Haitian police are a myth. Most of the stations have been taken over. Those who remain either don't intervene or work for the gangs. Many police stations look abandoned. Broken windows, burned out cars, empty cabinets. The country once had an army. It was disbanded, then re-established, then forgotten again. Now, the security forces have neither equipment, nor coordination, nor motivation. For years, the US and the UN supplied Haiti with weapons and uniforms. Today, all of that is in the hands of the gangs. On the streets, you might sometimes see an armed person in police armor with a G9 patch. Control is lost. For decades, the UN and the US have tried to stabilize Haiti. There were peacekeeping missions, humanitarian aid, political advice, billions poured in, but everything kept falling apart. After the UN mission left in 2017, destabilization began. In 2023, there was an attempt to send an armed international mission to Haiti, but no one wanted to go. Only Kenya agreed. And even then, their police officers only arrived in June 2024, and they were met with gunfire. Several officers were taken hostage in just the first week. The situation is too far gone. The Dominican Republic, the island's neighbor, has long since cut itself off from Haiti. There's a concrete wall with barbed wire between the countries, and border guards are fully equipped. The Dominican Republic deports Haitians even without a trial. They patrol the streets, catch undocumented migrants, and send them back. Officially, it's for security reasons. Unofficially, it's because they're afraid the chaos will spill over. Clashes often break out at the border. Haiti and the Dominican Republic, two worlds on one island. One lives in beach resorts, the other in fear and lawlessness. A new wave of people is fleeing Haiti. People build rafts, boats, even inflate old tires and set out to sea toward Florida. Every year, the US Coast Guard intercepts thousands of people. Those who survive are interrogated and sent back. Some die along the way. Rough seas, storms, sharks. But for many, that's better than staying. On the shores of Cuba and the Bahamas, you can find abandoned boats stuffed with belongings. These are traces of desperation. People are fleeing a country with no future, where every new day is a survival lottery. To understand why everything collapsed, we need to go back to the beginning. Haiti is the only country where slaves overthrew their masters themselves. In 1804, they defeated France and became the first Black Republic. It sounds proud, but problems started right away. International isolation, economic blockade, and paying reparations to former slave owners. Yes, Haiti paid France for its freedom. Then came coups, dictators, and corruption. In the 20th century, the US occupied the country to restore order, but left without achieving anything. Every change of power was accompanied by bloodshed. There was never any stability, only the illusion of stability. And then came the year 2010, an earthquake, magnitude 7.0. The epicenter was right under Port-au-Prince. In just a few minutes, the capital was reduced to ruins. More than 300,000 people died. Millions were left homeless. The international community mobilized. Money, equipment, and aid arrived, but most of it was stolen. Humanitarian aid warehouses were broken into. Aid was distributed through corrupt officials. The streets were piled with bodies. And months later, a cholera epidemic broke out because UN peacekeepers dumped sewage into the river. Aid turned into a disaster, and the country never recovered. 14 years have passed since then. Every year, new reconstruction programs were launched. They promised electricity, roads, and schools. On paper, there were billions in investments, but in reality, the asphalt ended after just 300 meters. Schools were left unfinished, and electricity was supplied for only 2 hours a day. Everything is collapsing under the weight of corruption. The local elite has no interest in change. International donors are exhausted. People don't trust anyone anymore. Even humanitarian organizations now operate in survival mode. Incognito, without logos, under guard. The system has completely deteriorated. Haiti's economy is one of the weakest in the world. The average income is about $2 a day, and unemployment is over 60%. There are no jobs, tourism is dead, and there's almost no industry. They export something, but very little. Source of income is remittances emigrants. People abroad send money to their families so they can at least survive somehow. Inflation is out of control. The local currency is almost meaningless. Everything is in dollars. Streets full of currency exchange booths. Prices go up daily. People buy chicken one piece at a time, fuel by the canister. Everything is done under the table. There's basically no real economy. And here's the main question. Is there still anything that can be saved? Is there any hope for a country with no government, where every patch of land is controlled by a gang, where aid never arrives and fear has become the norm? Some experts say there's still a chance if external governance is introduced and institutions are rebuilt from scratch. But who will do it and who will take responsibility? While the world looks the other way, Haiti is sinking, and every day it goes deeper. This is no longer a country, it's a warning. This is what the world looks like when a state gives up its position. And this is how it will look again and again in other places. The only question is, who's next? After the disaster, international organizations promised to turn Haiti into a showcase of recovery. They announced large-scale construction, infrastructure overhauls, and reforms. But in reality, most of these projects never made it off the page. The money ended up in private funds, where it's impossible to track how it's spent. Scandals involving shell companies and kickbacks made headlines for years, but no one was ever held accountable. Local residents kept living in tents that were meant to be temporary, just for 3 months. 14 years have passed. The tents are still there. Even international missions are increasingly operating in secret. Some humanitarian workers are forced to disguise themselves, travel without any identifying marks, and coordinate their routes through unofficial channels. Unwritten rules of survival operate in the country. If you want to deliver medicine, you have to negotiate with a gang. If you're building a school, you pay a tax on the concrete. Even generators for hospitals are sometimes confiscated by local groups, leaving maternity wards without electricity. Aid doesn't save, it feeds the system of violence. There are more and more children begging on the streets. They stand at traffic lights, dart between cars, and grab onto tourists if any happen to appear. The slightest rain floods the markets and slums. There's less and less food. People dry banana peels and fry roots. That's their substitute for bread. Money loses value so quickly that at some markets, prices are written in chalk so they can be erased and updated every hour. Currency is becoming meaningless. This isn't inflation, this is the collapse of the monetary system. Haiti isn't just a tragedy, it's a mirror. It shows what happens when corruption goes unpunished, when the international community turns a blind eye, and when people cling to the illusion that things will just fix themselves. Any other weak regime could have ended up in Haiti's place. When the basic functions of the state collapse, everything disappears. Order, law, life itself. Against this backdrop, even gangs are not just an evil, but a system that at least brings some structure to the chaos. And that's the scariest part. If things stay this way, Haiti will go down in history as the first completely destroyed country of the 21st century. But maybe not the last.